know I say this every pattern drop, but I really cannot believe that the winter patterns are already out. It is still 90 degrees here in Atlanta. I was having a hard enough time wrapping my head around fall patterns being released. And now we have a winter release full of coats and jackets and winter pajamas. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the new patterns for Simplicity for winter 2024. If you are a returning viewer to my channel, then you know this is not my typical background. I'm actually all set up and shooting a different video in my sewing space, and without wanting to break all of that down and just put it all back up, I just switched backdrops. So anyway, thank you and welcome back. And if you are a new viewer, nice to meet you. I am Tiffany of Tip Stitch, and this is my channel where we discuss all things sewing and DIY. And I want to make a point out, or it a point to show you guys that the Simplicity patterns that you're going to see in this video are going to be listed for $4.99 because they are on sale right now on Simplicity's website. Also, KnowMe will be $4.99 and the new look patterns are going to be $2.99, and this is just a sale that they are currently running. If you ever see red number prices in my videos, it's because they are on sale at the time of my recording. If by the time you see it they're no longer on sale, I advise you to sign up for Simplicity's email list. That's how I knew new patterns dropped. They're going to send you an email to keep you up to date on what's on sale and when new patterns drop. But then of course head over to my channel so we can talk about them. First up, we have 3032, which is a blouse, and this is a cute blouse that has the option of this like pussy bow on the front. Let's take a look at the line drawings. You can see that there are darts to make this a very fitted blouse. You have a placket for your buttons. You have view A, which is just collarless with sort of gathered sleeves with a hemband at the bottom. View B is essentially the same with the addition of a smaller bow. And then view C has more like a bishop sleeve with a larger bow. So we can take a look at this. It also is letting us know here that all the views have pattern pieces for A, B, C, and D cup. So that is nice that they have that built in. That hopefully saves you from having to make some bust adjustments. I definitely like the big bow. I think it's cute. I don't know how I feel about this sleeve here with the very long cuff and the like blousiness of it all, but it's not a bad look. I just am one who doesn't wear blouses because I really hate to iron. So most of my tops are going to be knit or looser wovens, which you still need to iron. But I just don't wear a whole lot of blouses. So this is available from an 8 to a 16 and then an 18 to a 26. Again, you are going to have the cup sizing here, which is nice to have. And they're basically going to just require or recommend light to mid-weight woven. So you have here chambray, cotton, denim, poplin. Any shirting light fabric will be fine for this. There's nothing too stand out about this blouse, although I do like the option for the bow. But if you're the type of person who wears a blouse, this may be a good one to have. Although I would guess you probably already have something similar in your stash. 3033 is a cape, and you know I love a cape. They're not necessarily the most practical piece of clothing, and I may be a hypocrite because y'all know how I feel about vests, but for some reason capes make sense to me, especially a belted cape. So I do sort of like this one. It has like a cargo appeal to it with these flap cargo pockets that are on the front. And then as you can see here on the model in view C, it also is giving us a little bit of like Inspector Gadget. So like a trench coat, but also a cape. Which actually reminds me of the pattern from Mimi G. There was a Simplicity pattern maybe 1 or 2 years ago that also has like a trench vibe to it, but that one is definitely a little bit more trendy, and this one may be a little bit more classic. If we look at the line drawings here, we can see our options. Views A and B have the collar. B has a contrast collar. A is going to have flat pockets with buttons, which is what sort of gives it that trench vibes. And then you are going to have view B just having two simpler pockets. But view C has a hood, which I do really like on a cape, and it is the one that also includes the belted version, which of course you could add to A or B very easily, but view C sort of has all the things. So let's take a look at it on the model. You can see here that they did it in like a khaki fabric, which is really sort of bringing home that whole like trench vibe to it. This view also does have a zipper instead of a buttons. I didn't point that out earlier, so that's neat. I do like it in the plaid, and I'm assuming this is like a suede or leather collar. That's actually very fall feeling. And then here it is again on the model. So yeah, I like this cape. I don't know that I need it because I have a couple of cape patterns, and I have that Mimi G cape that I think is sort of similar to this one. So I don't know that I need this, but it does come in a small to an extra large. You know, capes are very forgiving, and they call for outerwear fabrics, twill, water resistant or water repellent fabrics, which would be really good for that rain. I would do that in view C with the hood. Wool blends would be sort of like view B that they had in the plaid with that suede collar, would be interesting. I would probably do the zip just because they're easier than buttons for me. I really hate sewing buttonholes. But overall, I think this is a good pattern if you're like me and you really like capes and don't have one that's similar. I just feel like I probably have more cape patterns than I actually can sew up at this point, so I'm gonna skip it, but you let me know what you think. I'm going to say that I didn't prep for this video and I apologize for that, but um I feel like I've seen this coat before. I just can't give you a pattern number right off the top of my head. I like it though if you live in a cooler climate, which unfortunately, but fortunately for me, I do not. So I don't know that it's ever cold enough for me to need this, but I think it is a nice look. It's sort of like an asymmetrical front, like it doesn't meet in the center lap here. You have big patch pockets, great to keep your hands warm, and then they have this built-in shawl that goes around the neck. So it looks very comfy and cozy. And you have two lengths. You have the longer length that's here on the model. I think this looks great in this like sort of dark caramel chocolatey color. Very gorgeous. Looks very cozy, very warm. Again, it's really simple. You're gonna have just these two buttons, and then the elaborateness is really in the shawl. Like that's where the wow factor is. I'm assuming that that is going to make this a bit of a fabric hog. Actually, you know what? It doesn't look like it. Okay, it is calling for boiled wool, which I could definitely see. Fleece, any medium weight wool, or like a twill. Of course, this would be lined. It comes in a 6 to a 14 and then a 16 to a 24. And the view A, the shorter coat, in a 60-inch wide fabric takes 4.5 yards or 4 1/4. I can't really see what that says. That's not terrible. And then the longer coat takes 5, but that's to be expected with the almost floor length coat. So this isn't quite the fabric hog that I thought it would be. Although, of course, any wool oversized coat like this is going to take quite a bit of fabric. Let's take a look at the line drawings. You can see that there is some shaping here with the dart. So even though this is a relatively boxy coat, it's sort of leaning a little bit more semi-fitted. You have a two-piece sleeve that you can see here. The shoulders aren't quite dropped, but they're definitely wider. And you can see here on the back view how this shawl or scarf is like built into the coat itself, which is really nice if you live in a cooler climate where obviously you need both. I live in Atlanta. It don't ever get that cold here. Or it did a couple of years ago. It got like down to single digits here, which as far as we're concerned is Antarctica. But that was like for 2 days. It doesn't stay that way down here, and we just don't leave the house, so it's not a problem. But if you live in a cooler climate and you need a nice wool coat, I think this one is actually a pretty good one to grab. Although I do think there's a very similar pattern to this floating out there somewhere. Simplicity 3035 is a little youthful, a little fun. It's giving you like a skirted tracksuit kind of vibe, like a skirted sweatsuit. Um, let's start with the jacket here. This is going to be like a half zip pullover type situation, which I really like. these in general. So I really like the look of this. I think it's cute. Y'all know I love a black and white, so gorgeous. And then I like how this is like a blue with like an accent with the neon green sort of zipper here. So I do think that is super cute. What I will say is I have a quarter zip pattern from I'm gonna have to link it, that I really like. I made it last year a couple of times. So Machina. It's by So Machina. And I think she's a German designer, maybe. Anyway, I really like that one. And I made it quite a few times. So I it's gonna be hard for me to convince myself not to make that one again, but at least this one is different enough that it stands out. That one you can also color block, but for right now, let's talk about 30, 35. And let's look at the line drawings. What I can't tell from the line drawing is whether or not, I don't think there is an actual shoulder seam here. And that's where the interest comes in with how this color blocking and this piecing works here on the sleeve detail. There's a crease here, but I think that's just showing a crease. I don't think there's an actual seam for the sleeve, like an arm side, which is interesting. But I like it. I think you could do it all in one piece and just add some interest with some top stitching. I do like how they use that accent color zipper in the photos, which we'll look back at in a second. But I love the idea of doing color blocking, and I love the black and white because y'all know I love that. But I could see like a pink and fuchsia. I could see like a navy blue and a teal. I could see like team colors, like a blue and a gold. Like any of that would work. Now, what I will say is I think I'm about tired of these knit pull-on skirts. They can't really look any different at this point, but I do like the fact that they add the contrasted sides on this one, at least to give it that more athleisurely like look. And it does have the drawstring, I guess, which brings in that like athletic style. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just think that they've been throwing this skirt on a lot of patterns. So let's look at the pictures on the envelope here. Again, I like the set in the black and white. Works really good with some black and white Adidas. Very cute. You can wear your Nike Pandas if you're like my daughter. So yeah, this is cute. I like how it has the side seam pockets, you know, like the front side seam pockets, like the kangaroo pouch, I'm assuming. We'll look at the description. Has that same detail in the back of like the chevron angled parts coming together. You know, I love a good color block. This is available in an extra small to an extra extra large, which I feel like is a decent size range. This one would have been a good one, I think, to also make in, for lack of a better term, the plus sizes as well. This could have been like a 1X to a 4X as well. It's a really simple pattern. They could have just graded out for that. I'm not really sure why they didn't. Any kind of knit would work for this, I think. No, not any kind of, any medium to heavy weight knit would work fine for this. They say a sweatshirt fleece, obviously. A French terry, obviously. I would say like a ponte would also work. Any double knit, any thicker, weightier, more stable knit, I think would work pretty good for this. And you can have a lot of fun with the color blocking. The pieces are probably too big for you to do it in just scraps. But again, it could just be a fun way to use up, you know, some fabric that you have or piece together some fun colors. So I am probably going to grab this one because I've been rocking quarter zips. I did last year and I think I will again this year. So we have a Mimi G pattern in 3036. Now, when I first saw this pattern envelope, I assumed that the pattern was for both this like camisole situation, not camisole, cardigan situation, and these pull-on pants. But now that I look at it a little bit closer, I think this might just be the cardigan pattern from the previous drop, the fall, the first fall drop from Simplicity, where she does that three-piece knit set with the cardigan, like a cropped tank and a skirt. Um, I feel like we could have just put these pants in that pattern and just had a four-piece set. And I feel like that would have made more sense to me. They call this a jogger style pant, and I get why they say that because it's like an athletic pull-on pant, but it's really not a jogger. To me, joggers have elastic at the hem of the leg, and this definitely does not. This is more just like relaxed um pull-on pants, like because they're so wide. They're just a relaxed wide pant. And I like these. Oh, you know what? Let's look at the line drawing. So here's the line drawing. You have a pin tuck in the front. You have a drawstring and an elastic waist. and slant pockets. Overall, it's a really simple pattern. That being said, I feel like there are a lot of other patterns that give you the same thing, namely Simplicity 9756. That one doesn't have the pin tuck, but that's a very easy modification. You just follow the grain line, draw a line, and then sew your own pin tuck. It also reminds me very heavily of a pattern I just made, McCalls 8447. Now, that one is a Brandy Joan pattern, and it is a little bit more tapered in the leg, but even a pretty beginner sewist could widen that out to a wider leg and basically have the same look. I've used another pattern, which if I can remember it by the time I edit this, I'll add it here, is a pull-on pant that I use to make a version of these pants as well. Um, because I was copying a piece that I'd seen in Walmart. It was the Lee brand, and they were pin tuck, wide leg, like sweatpants as well. So there's just so many other patterns you could use than buying another pattern just for this look. But I love Mimi, so I'm not mad at it. I just don't really understand why, if she already had two patterns released in the first half of the fall, why we released these as well. But that's just me. Still, let's look at the details here. Like I said, super cute on her. I love the purple color. I love the fit. I like the idea of a wide leg sweatpant. She has it on here in a very analogous color, not analogous, monochrome kind of color. Like you have the violet with the lilac. Very cute. Love the styling. You have the details here of the elastic waist and the slant pocket. This should hopefully be, yes, we're going to be going from an 8 to a 16 and then an 18 to a 26. So pretty size inclusive for simplicity. And basically any medium, weight knit, French terry, sweatshirt, ponte. You could really make these pants out of anything. Like maybe stick to knits, but I don't even know if you need that much stretch with them being wide leg. You could literally use any fabric you wanted. You'd get a totally different look, but you could use any fabric that you wanted to make these pants and it would probably turn out absolutely fine. Um, so again, I do think they're super cute. I'm not a fan of patterns that only have one view in them. And I just really feel like this could have been in her other pattern from the earlier release. All right, now we have moved on to Mimi's husband, Norris, and this is a jogger set for men. And this makes a lot of sense, definitely perfect for fall. Uh, they're very oversized, as we can see on him. You have sort of like an oversized zip up hoodie, and then you have these really oversized pants here. Let's look at the line drawings because I think I said on that was the Simplicity previous fall drop, where there was a pair of more fitted structured pants where they had this same really 90s super oversized droopy pant that they showed like a little shoe under, and they showed all the flooding here at the bottom, which is the first time I've like really seen that on the line drawing, but we have it here again. Admittedly, it makes a lot more sense in an athleisure set like this than it made in those seemingly more structured wrap front pants, but alas, I don't really think I get it. It also reminds me of the oversized, super wide joggers that were in a Mimi pattern. I think that one was 9929 that had like, well, it had like a gusset, extra fabric in the gusset of the crotch that made them super wide, but it's sort of giving me like that same oversized feel. Anyway, the hoodie is nice. You have a drop shoulder, and then it's just going to be oversized. So like this is going to be a generous hood, oversized pockets, oversized, uh, in general. So I definitely think there are a lot of women who will also like this style because of course that's the beauty of sewing. You can make what you want. I don't care who it's supposedly marketed to, but I definitely like the size, the scale of the hoodie on Nora's here. It's definitely oversized but still looks pulled together. I really like it. I don't know that I'm as big a fan of the pants, but that's just a personal preference kind of thing. um just what you like. All I can think about is my pants dragging, to be honest with you. So again, this is a men's pattern, so it is going to go from a small to an extra extra large, but this is going to be more men's or unisex sizing. So of course, if you are more of feminine presenting, you might want to size down for this, considering that the style is already oversized. And again, any heavier weight knit, so we're talking like sweatshirt fleece, a heavier terry knit, ponte, a double knit, anything like that. If you can find like a stretchy fleece, like a luxe fleece from Joann's, like that would also work. But this is just, a different twist on a very familiar fall staple, the sweatsuit. We have a second pattern for the men, again from Norris in 3038. And this is going to be a men's jacket. And I like this. It has a very oversized like collar here that you can see he did in a contrast fabric. It also is a zip front jacket, which I like because we talked about how I don't like making buttonholes. It's a little cropped, like it hits right at the waist. So again, it's more of a jacket, I guess, than a coat. I want to look at the line drawing before we look at the rest of the pictures here, just to show that it has a drop shoulder with welt pockets on the front. Again, the oversized collar, a very simple sleeve here, no cuff, no cuff band, whatever, just a clean line at the arm. But also notice that it has this unique yoke in the back. It reminds me a lot of the pattern from Julian last winter. Um, Black Sewing Network sewed that live on TikTok. I made a version out of black, like ultra suede, and a coated denim that sort of looked like leather. And I cropped it or hacked it into a bomber coat, which was a great idea from, I don't remember who, maybe Carmen. But anyway, my point is it sort of gives me that kind of same vibes with the back, but it is a little different, but it's sort of similar. Um, it just says a back shaped yoke, and I think it's called a saddle shaped yoke. I think Julian told us. Anyway, it reminds me of that jacket, but let's look at more of the photos here. I like it in this green with that contrast of brown, which really doesn't have anything to do with the pattern, but I do like it when the model style um the patterns in complementary fabric. So many times a pattern on the envelope is killed by a wrong fabric choice. So I really like the colors here. Very fall to me, like an evergreen. So yeah, good look. I like it. Again, we're talking about men's sizing from a small to an extra extra large, and I think you could probably use a variety of fabrics on this, but they recommend wool, broadcloth seems a little light, chino, corduroy, cotton blends, denim. I could definitely see this in denim. Linen blends, not really seeing that. Micro suede, I can see that because that's what I made mine in last year. That's very similar to this. Stretch wovens, I guess. Tweed, twill, again, wool. Like all of those make sense. So if this has some lines and some structure that you like, I would definitely say go for this one. Is a more feminine presenting person, I would definitely size down. But I do think that this is a nice, simple jacket and probably not that hard to sew. They are saying that it's average. It looks about average. 3040 includes a view for a vest, which y'all know how I feel, and a sweater. So let's talk about it. They call it a fresh take on a classic v-neck, which I guess is true. It's giving me sort of Carlton Bank vibes. If you're a millennial, or Gen X. But yeah, this is very, you know what? Look at VC. This is just what I was about to say. This is very varsity like. Very, it's giving me varsity vibes. So yeah, first up in view A, let's start there. We do have the vest. They are using a contrast rib knit to do the neck and the bands. Classic look. View B is essentially the same, just add sleeves. And then view C takes away the contrast. Although arguably I think this one should have the contrast so it could match the Letterman. And just this reminds me of like a Letterman sweater, actually like a 1950s varsity kind of vibe, but maybe I've just watched uh Grease too many times. Anyway, that's what it sort of looks like to me. It doesn't really look like that to me on the models because they're using this striped fabric, but View C sort of still has that like look. They even did the top stitching in the contrasting colors, so you can see here on the models themselves, you have striped fabrics, which I wonder where they got that from because I don't see striped fabrics like that. Also, this ribbing, in my opinion, can be difficult to find, but maybe it's just because you know who you should get it from? LWS. Lynn. Lynn has excellent trimmings. That's where you can get trimmings for this look. Okay. Sorry. Got distracted. So yeah, so here it is on both of them again. It definitely makes sense to do this in like a cable knit. Like that seems very classic. And then, like I said, this is just giving the classy varsity guy look. So I see it. It looks very collegiate. It looks very preppy. It looks very rush, right? So this is going to be unisex, and it goes from an extra small to an extra extra large. So you have a decent sort of size range here. And this would really just work for any knit. It just depends on how you want it to fit and how you want it to fall. But any knit that you can find would probably work for this. Again, the trickiest thing might be finding ribbing. I'll link down to LWS's trim shop in the description so you can check her out as well. But it's not something I would make, at least not the vest. I might would make the sweater. But yeah, if this is something that you've been looking for, this is a very, I think, classic look. They're correct on that. No fall or winter drop is complete without a whole family pajama set. As we go into the cooler temps, you're always going to see a lot of these. This category is very easy. It's a great time to pick up sewing or start sewing. Is make pajamas for the family. Ain't nobody ever gonna wear them out the house. It's a good way to practice, and you can make something from everybody. So cute. And you can have matching PJs for a fraction of the cost that you're gonna pay if you order them online. Well, depending on what fabric you pick. But I will say that one of these comes out every year. So if you already have one, there's not going to be anything special about this one that merits getting another one. And if you don't have a family pattern because you're new to sewing, you can literally just go to wherever you get your patterns, flip through the book, and look through any number of patterns because they're all pretty much the same. Here you have A, B, and C, essentially all the same. The difference is the length of the garment itself and then the length of the sleeves. So view A is going to be a regular shirt with long sleeves. View B, same shirt, short sleeves. View C is more of a nightgown look. And then with D and E, you have either a pretty long inseam short or pants. They're both going to be pull on, have elastic. The trickiest thing here, although I think that it might be faux, would be doing the buttons here on the collar. Let's see what the... Yeah, it says have a neckband with a 3-button opening. That's going to be the hardest thing to a new sewist. If you're familiar with sewing at all, that won't be a problem. But yeah, I think it's cute. I like how they sort of switched it up. They have the mom in the nightgown and everybody else in varying lengths. You know, you always got one child that's hot and one child that's always cold. So that's, realistic. But yeah, so you can make these for Halloween, you can make it for Christmas, you can make it for Kwanzaa, you can make them for Hanukkah, you can make them for Valentine's Day. These are just those sort of like holiday family pajamas. The intent is really the fabric or the colors that you choose. And this is going to be children and teens, then teens and adults. So wherever you fall in this as a family is what you need to buy. Let me go back to the main page just to see how they break it up. Yep, everything's in one envelope because it's a pretty simple pattern, not that many pieces, so they can put the kids and the adults, all teens, all in the same pattern. So if you don't already have a family pattern, grab this one. But if you already have one, you don't need another one. We skipped a few girls pattern and are on Simplicity 3046. This is a vintage 70s pattern that is reversible. You can wear the front, you can wear the V in the front or the back. Let me put it that way. And this is an interesting pattern that I actually sort of like. If you look at the line drawing here, you can see that they don't even call one the front or the back. There's just the V-neck side and the scoop neck side. It's not really a scoop. Crew necks, higher neck side, rounded neck side. And then you have a self belt. The difference here is simply the length of the dresses. You can also see that there's just two pattern pieces. You're going to have the V piece and the other piece. There's no separate sleeve. There's no set-in sleeve, no drop sleeve. I think they call this a kimono sleeve here on the description. So this is going to be a very easy, see, they call it very easy pattern to sew. It's a jiffy. All the jiffy patterns were like the super quick ones. So yeah, they call it a long kimono sleeve. It has a high straight neckline with the slit in the front, but you can also wear the V neckline in the front. It depends on which way you want to wear it. Um, I think this is actually sort of cute in a way. I don't know that I would actually wear it, but I have a thing about dresses that are reversible. I also really liked the KnowMe pattern that came out that had this similar styling. That was a much more contemporary gathered look, but like you could wear the front to the back or the back to the front. This sort of reminds me, or I guess that should remind me of this, considering this is from the 70s. Anyway, you're not going to get real pictures for the vintage drawings for whatever reason, but I do like how they do have the drawing here with the longer view and the shorter view on the models with the necks going both ways. I'm not really sure how comfortable I would be with that high neck across the front, but I guess in a knit it wouldn't be that uncomfortable. But I do like the V in the front. I actually really like the look of the high neck in the front. I just don't know how comfortable that is to wear. If y'all know, let me know. So I do like that this has pretty decent sizing from a vintage pattern that's been replicated. So you're going to have from an 8 to a 16 and then an 18 to a 26, which is pretty decent coverage from Simplicity on vintage patterns especially. And you're going to do this with knits basically. They called for a matte jersey here, which I think would be excellent. They also say stretchy double knits. I could see it in a more structured look out of like a Ponte, like a lighter maybe weight Ponte, but I could see that. I don't know how well it would do in like a ITY or a double brush poly, but maybe. Um, maybe. I feel like it maybe needs something with a little bit of weight. Um, but I do like this. I don't know that I'm gonna grab it because I don't know that I really need to wear it. But it looks like a really quick to sew dress that you could throw on in a hurry and still look really pulled together, especially when you add that belt. Let me know what you think. We've got another vintage look from the 70s here in 3047. I actually quite like this. I don't think I would sew it or wear it, but I do like it. It's also another very easy, so that's always fun. And this is a unlined wrap, so it's sort of giving me the look of a cape, but it actually wraps in the front, so it's more of a jacket. Um, and then you just have a really simple pull on pant. Again, we're not going to get photos, so let's just start with the illustrations. You can see here that it's just like a simple jacket with a shawl, self belt, little patch pocket on the front. The sleeves are sort of giving you the visual of a cape, but it's not. And the pants, again, are just super simple, two-piece. Looks like there might be a zipper, but elastic weight pants. Does it say? It has a back zipper and an elastic waistline. Not sure about that. I would just pair it with some elastic waist pants. Anyway, cute though. I like the look. Um, do I need it? No. Would I wear it? Probably also no. But it's cute. And at least they did extend the sizing on this one. It goes from an 8 to a 26. So that's great. Um, yeah, cute. Not necessary for me, but could be for someone else. Let me know what you think. All right, we've jumped forward a decade here to the 80s, even though this says the 60s in the heading. The envelope says 80s, it says 80s down here. They are calling this a very loose fitting jumper, which I would say that it is. And you can see here that it has really deep arm size because it's designed to be worn with like a blouse or in the case of view number 4, either a tube top or like a camisole under it. The difference here is that some views are going to have button fronts and the others will not. They all are going to have a gathered skirt. Some have some trim on the bottom. This one is more like an apron with a dual layer. And this one has the patch pockets. Let's look at the line drawings for that. Sorry. So you can see that here, no buttons. One has more of like an apron on top. This one has some trim on the bottom. 3 has the trim on the bottom, but also the buttons. And then 4 has the buttons as well as the patch pockets. This is just a little matronly looking for me. It doesn't even look like the 80s. It looks like further back than that. I'm gonna say it, gives me Little House on the Prairie vibes. Makes me feel like I should be milking a cow or churning butter or something. And that's just not my aesthetic. But this would be very trad wife. Like, I could see it. This is definitely for someone. So if we look at the sizing here, it is from a 6 to a 12 maybe, and then a 14 to a 22. We can look at the breakdown here. And basically this is going to work for any medium weight woven fabric. Yeah, so 6 to 14, 14 to 22. If this is your vibe, go for it, but this is just definitely not me. We are going to end it here in the 70s, even though the next two patterns are actually pretty cute aprons, and then there's a bag in this drop that I probably would get, but we're not going to talk about those. I want to keep it consistent. This is another cute 70s piece that I would definitely wear. If we look at the pattern envelope here, you can see, let's see if we can see it better here, that there is like a peekaboo little cutout here at the top. And you have either short sleeves or sleeveless. And I just really like the vibe. This one is more of a tunic and they have it styled over pants. I actually really like both of these and I can see myself getting this pattern. Like I said, view number one has contrast, short sleeves, view two, short sleeve, I mean, no sleeves, and then view C or three is more like a tunic. It looks like, yeah, it is. It is actually a little bit shorter. My bad. It is a little bit shorter, and then you have elastic waist pull-on pants. I would probably pick a tapered pant from another pattern, but regardless, I think this is pretty cute. I just like the peekaboo detail on the neckline. So as far as sizing is concerned, okay, great. They took it up to a 26, so I can grab this one. They are saying crepe, jacquard, double knit. I could definitely see it in a double knit, a nice heavyweight ponte. Linen, piqué. Oh, I haven't seen that suggested in a long time. Um, I say any medium weight woven or stretch woven, like a stretch sateen or something, I think would also work. Stretch, something like gabardine, something like that. I could see this in, as well as a stable knit, like a ponte or a double knit, would make sense for this. And they give you the breakdown. They're all lined, all the good things. I really like this. I think I might grab this one. I don't typically do the vintage patterns, but there's something about this one that's really cute to me. There's actually no, there's a butterick pattern that's sort of similar, but that peekaboo is in the back, not the front, so never mind. But yeah, so I like this, and like I said, we are going to end it here. So those are the patterns for simplicity for this winter release. I do prefer this one a tad bit more over the fall. There wasn't a lot in the fall release that I planned on grabbing. Just the Mimi G jumpsuit that I thought was really cute. In this release, I think I'll go for the quarter zip with the skirt. I think that was 3035. And I might pick up 3046 and 3049, the two vintage 70s patterns. One was the reversible dress because I could actually see myself wearing that and it looks like a super easy sew. And then 3049, which I don't know that I need, but I like the little peekaboo and the option of having a dress or a tunic. Anyway, let me know which ones you plan on grabbing in the comments. And again, if you want to take advantage of this $4.99 price, you should go ahead and order soon because I do not see an end date on this sale from simplicity.com. And like always, we'll discuss more in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss a video. Thanks for watching and happy sewing.